Hey guys, Mark the Mentor here, back with another video. All right, this video I want to talk about older box trucks versus newer box trucks. This is a topic that I've seen up for debate as of recently online, other content creators, subs, and live streams and comments. You know, you got people that are saying, you know, don't go buy an older box truck for various reasons or whatever. I'm going to tell you this, you know, there's pros and cons when you buy an older truck. There's pros and cons when you buy a new truck. I've said this before. I bought a brand new truck in 2014. Transmission went out, 80,000 miles. Older trucks never had any powertrain issues. So, you know, things happen. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you really don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the luck of the draw. But I'm going to talk about pros and cons on both. And ultimately, you know, the decision is going to always be up to you. But one of the main things I think people forget about, and I talk about it all the time, I used to talk about it a lot more than I talk about it now, is overhead. You know, when you enter into this space, you got to make sure you enter correctly. I always talk about this being a low margin business. It's a low margin industry. You know what I'm saying? So you have to enter correctly, and you got to make sure you enter with at least the least amount of overhead as possible. So let's talk about new trucks real quick. I'm going to talk about some pros, some cons. I'm not going to really deep dive into it because I want to keep this video short and sweet. All right. Pros of a new truck. Obviously, new truck, you don't have to, you know, that anxiety of if the truck is going to break down, things of that nature. You really don't have that. You feel more confident with the new truck because it's new. And if it does break down, you got that warranty because it's a new vehicle. You can just take it back to the truck dealer and then they're going to cover the cost because it's a new truck. All right. Now, with a new truck, things can happen. Things can happen. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run 4 or 5 years before you get your first breakdown. You know, it's something that's man-made. All right. Mistakes can happen. All right. Mistakes can happen. So, you know, it's not guaranteed. Now, let's talk about some of the cons on a new truck. All right. Some of the cons on a new truck, and this is what you really have to think about, especially when you're first entering into the space. Your overhead, when you're purchasing a 2023 truck, you're going to pay a 2023 rate. All right. 2023 truck, now you're looking at $100,000 plus. All right. That's going to put you way over $2,000 on your note. Way over $2,000, depending on your credit. You know, some people are going to touch $3,000 a month plus on that truck. All right. I got subs that went out during the height of the bubble. All right. And went out and bought those $80,000 trucks, and they're paying $2,500, $2,600, $2,700 for 2018, 2019s. All right. That they bought for $80,000. They're paying over $2,000. You get to that $100,000 range, you're paying $2,500 up, $3,000 or more. Now, on the insurance side, you're paying higher insurance. With these higher insurance costs, now you're paying insurance on a 2023 truck. If you get into an accident or something happen, it costs more money to fix a newer truck than it does in older trucks. Parts are more expensive. Parts are harder to source because the truck is new. You know what I'm saying? You're paying, and you're paying insurance for a higher value truck. A 2023 is a higher valued vehicle than, let's say, a 2013 truck that's 10 years older. So the higher the value, the more insurance you're going to pay. So on a 2023 truck, you could be paying in upwards of 20. Listen, I know people that are paying $2,900 on 2018s, 2019s, 2017s. So another $2,500 plus, $3,000 plus bill. You're in upwards of $5,000 or more just between, all right, your finance agreement, you know, your monthly fee for your truck, right? Paying back the bank and your insurance. All right. A lot of guys go with Progressive. So if you know you with Progressive, you're in upwards of that $2,800, $2,900, $3,000 a month. All right. So on a 2023. All right. So this is something that you got to think about coming into this space. Yeah, you're going to have that confidence knowing that, you know, I can go out on the road and I'm confident, you know, that my truck is going to be more reliable than an older truck. And, you know, like I said, things can't happen, but entering into this space with the rates that they are, you got to factor in your overhead costs. Now, this is an upwards of $5,000 that's coming out. All right. This is $5,000 that's coming out. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep that in mind. All right. Now let's talk about older trucks. And when I say older, I'm not talking about a 1985, a 1990. I see people complaining about saying an '05 is too old. I had a sub that went and bought an '02. I think he paid 18 grand or a little less for it cash. And he said, man, I'm saving hella money on my insurance, and this truck hasn't given me any problems. All right. So let's talk about older trucks. All right. There's nothing wrong with purchasing an older truck as long as you do your due diligence. All right. As long as you do your due diligence. All right. And when I say due diligence, if you're not mechanically inclined, all right, you need to hire a diesel mechanic or a mechanic to go with you if you're going to a truck dealership. All right. Because they're going to tell you one thing, it's a great truck, but you still want to do your due diligence. Pay somebody that knows, how to diagnose a truck, knows what to look for, and take them with you. Let them test drive the truck. Let them look under the hood. Let them look for all the things that you don't know what to look for. All right. And you pay them to go with you and do this. All right. Whether you're going to a dealership or whether you're going and buying it from a personal seller, take someone with you who's mechanically inclined, a mechanic, certified mechanic that's knowledgeable on this if you are not knowledgeable on it yourself. All right. You're going to save a lot of money. All right. And expenses when you purchase a truck that's pre-driven or used or older, whatever the term you want to use. Obviously, the older the vehicle, the cheaper the insurance. And if you're going to finance it, it's going to be at a lesser cost than a new truck. So obviously, your note on that truck monthly is going to be a lot cheaper than if you go out and purchase a 2023 truck. Yes, things are going to happen. The truck is going to break down. A new truck is going to break down. An old truck is going to break down. All right. It's just a part of the business, you know what I'm saying? But if you're running correctly, you know how to pay yourself, you know how to keep your business afloat by, not robbing from the sustainability of the business, making sure you have cash flow, that when these things do arise, you have the money available and ready to go to get that truck serviced and get it back out on the road so that you can make money. All right. So those are some of the pros as far as costs, as far as saving you money, because it's going to cost you less to run an older truck. All right. Those are some of the pros. Now, some of the cons, like I spoke on a second ago, is, that whole worrying about if and when the truck is going to break down, new truck is going to break down. But here's the thing. If you take someone with you and you diagnose it while you're there, and you also keep your truck serviced, a lot of people don't take care of their truck. You take care of your truck is going to take care of you. And this whole thing about don't buy an older truck, listen, and I don't understand why people say this. And let's speak from just a realistic view. I want to speak from a realistic view. Coming into any business, not everyone is fortunate to go out and spend a bunch of money on a new truck. All right. Let's speak from a realistic view. All right. You have to crawl before you walk. And I think the reason why a lot of people get into jams is because they don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand crawl before you walk. Crawl before you walk. Not everybody is in a situation where they can go out and buy a brand new truck. Not everybody is in a situation where they can go out and buy a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or a Mercedes. If so, then you would see a lot more Mercedes and Bentleys and Rolls Royces and G-Wagons on the road. Same thing with trucks. You got to crawl before you walk. If you're coming into a space, you got to do what you got to do to get where you need to get to. And if you have a budget, all right, if you have a budget, right, and you have so much money, you got to work with the money that you got, all right. And if say $20,000 is your budget to purchase a truck, and you worked hard, you saved up that money, all right. Some people like, man, $20,000 ain't gonna really get you a new truck, and you filter out when you're doing your online searches, you're filtering out $20,000 trucks. It's your job to go look at all these $20,000 trucks, right? And take your mechanic with you, right? And figure out and diagnose and see which is the best one that's going to get you the best bang for your buck. Some of them are going to be lemons, but you might find that one diamond in the rough that someone's just selling to get rid of because they really need the money, or the truck has, served them their purpose, over the 10 years since they bought it or 15 years since they bought it, and they're selling it at a fair value price. But you have to do that due diligence. Just don't go out and jump and buy the first one that you see that's within your budget. You may go look at 10 trucks within your budget, and you may take your mechanic with you, and he may say, you know what, all of them that you went and looked at are not worth the risk. That only thing that means is you just got to keep looking. All right. So realistic views, because a person will tell you to go out and do something that you really can't afford. You don't want to go out and purchase something, your first truck. And I'm not saying don't buy a new truck. Eventually, let's say you go out, you buy a used truck first, right? And you're building your business, but you're doing it correctly. And then later on, as you build and you scale, eventually you can go out and buy a new truck because the business can pay for that new truck. If you got 3-4 trucks rolling, you feel like, you know what, now I want to go out and I want to buy a new truck. I'm still out over the road. I'm going to reward myself. I got my other 3 trucks running. I got 3 drivers in the truck. I want to scale up. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to continue to run while my other 3 trucks are running. But I'm going to reward myself with a new truck because I know this truck is going to pay for itself because I'm going to run it. And the business can afford at this point to pay that $2,800, $2,900, $2,600, $3,000 note. You got to do what's best for you. There's nothing wrong. Listen, 2013, I've told this before. My trucks that I started building my fleet then, 10 years ago, were 8 years old then. My trucks are 05s and 06s. Still. And they're fine. All right. I took mechanic with me each truck I bought that year, except for the 2 new ones. All right. Each time we went, we spent the day. It wasn't no whoop, bam, thank you, ma'am. We spent the day. We got there at 9. We didn't leave there till 5. Most of the day wasn't the paperwork. I'm cashing out. You gotta understand, this is a long time ago. Trucks were a lot cheaper then. I'm cashing out. So it's not like I'm sitting, we going through banks, waiting, the finance guy trying to see which bank going. It wasn't none of that. This is cash deals. We spent the day there because we was checking trucks. They got 20, 30 trucks. We looking at all of them. We figuring out which is the best one out of all these trucks, and we're test driving them. It got to the point once I bought like the first 3, 4, and we was going there, man, they just laid the keys out. And we go test drive them, go test drive 5, 6. Next thing you know, it's 12, 1 o'clock. We take one of the trucks, whatever truck we in, we stop, we eat lunch, we go back, we test a few more, and then we make the decision which one is the best one. Now, out of all the trucks that I bought, then I did have an issue with one truck. The second truck I ever bought, truck 2, gave me a lot of electrical issues, all right, things of that nature. But guess what? Business had cash flow. Business had cash flow. So I got the trucks repaired. I have a relationship, right, with truck shops in my market. Still came out way less money than I would have if I would have purchased a brand new truck. It's frustrating, right? But at the end of the day, I wasn't paying high insurance. I wasn't paying a high finance rate. And this is how I was able to scale as quickly as I did once I went through my takeoff phase in the 5 stages of growth. I didn't put myself in a jam early on because my eyes were too wide. I looked at business the right way. I want to make more money. And you make more money by spending less and keeping your expenses down. So this whole thing about old box truck versus new box truck, you know, the decision is always up to you, but you need to weigh the pros and the cons on both. Obviously, once again, you're going to save a lot more money with an older truck. Everybody's situation is not the same. All right. You have to work with what you have. And if you don't have much, you still have go out and do your due diligence with the money that you have and make the best decision with the money that you do have. People will tell you and they'll send you off. Don't get sent off out here. This is a low margin business. This is a low margin business. And then initially when you're getting in, you want to keep your expenses as low as possible. All right. Doesn't mean go and buy a 1992. That's not what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying? I think, me personally, I think starting out with pre-driven, used, old, older, whatever the term you want to use, is a better way to go than your first initial truck purchase, buying a brand new truck, and you still got to go through this learning curve, and now you got these high expenses. All right, so that's the video. www.boxtruckcourses.com for your one-on-one mentorship with me, Mark the Mentor. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the upcoming videos. I'm out.